into a room full of men, especially men that are rough or masculine, or maybe they don't seem necessarily too friendly, do you all get nervous?
Yeah.
I actually get attracted.
Okay. Russell says he gets attracted. Tavares, you said yes.
It's kind of one of those things where, as a gay male, you know, you always have that don't be too feminine, you know, and it's kind of like, I am a gay male and I am very proud of who I am, but it's kind of like I'm that gay man who don't act that gay, so it's like I'm a little better, almost and it's bad to say, but I'm a little better than the guy who acts feminine, so I can kind of cross over a little bit and I can relate to them more than he can, so sometimes it's like I take that and I become a little bit more macho around those guys, and it's like I feel like I'm Tavares, but it's like it's not Tavares who, if I'm with my friend, then Beyonce come on, you know. It's like it's you know, it's just like I'll never act like that, you know. in those group of men, for the sense of I don't want to hear, you know, that derogatory term, so I be Tavares, but I do push it up a little bit more because of the fact of I don't want to be the outcast. You know, I don't want to be that person who is identified as, oh, that's the gay man. So I don't want to have that label every time we go out. You know, so it can be intimidating to be in a group of, for me, like a thug gay man, because they sometimes mindset is not open. You know.
That's true.
What about the women? I want to have a chance to bring our ladies into this conversation as well. Do you all feel that when you walk into a room full of women, in the locker room especially, do you feel that you're going to be judged, or not even the locker room, but in just a regular setting? Just like Tavares said, if he walked into a room full of heterosexual men, he'll kind of, I guess, straighten up, as they say, or try to be a little bit more masculine. Do you ladies feel that you have those same things you have to deal with when you walk into your female circles?
Not necessarily with walking into a room full of women on a regular basis, but kind of taking it back to the locker room discussion. When I was in high school, when gym class came around, we would all start to change clothes, and all of the girls would go into the bathroom stalls to change. There would be lines to the bathroom, and I would be one of 3 people still in the actual changing room, and they would all give me looks and be like, "Oh my gosh, you better not stare at me while I'm changing. I'll beat the HELL out of you." And it was scary, and it really made me upset because it ostracized me. It really did. I felt like a freak.
I noticed you shaking your head, Elise.
Because for, like, at my school, I'm from Jersey. So it's like, it's kind of weird. Like, they accept you, they don't accept you. It's like you either buckle down, be who you want to be. Because up north, it's a go hard or go home situation. So, like, it really is. So in the bathrooms at our school, you had some people who went into the stalls, some people who didn't. But it was like, they wasn't looking at you. If you were, you were. And nobody's going to run to the bathroom. So I guess the experience where I'm from, it was kind of different. Not for me per se, but I knew a lot of my friends who were. And some people knew they were. And it was like, they still were cool. They weren't going to change their friendship just because they finally said, this is who I am. Just like me, only a certain few people knew that I was. So they weren't going to look at me different. And I told them, I said, if you look at me different, that shows that you weren't truly a friend from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So it's like you either take it, or like I said, go hard or go home. Be who you want to be. And I basically had to realize that myself. Mm-hmm. So
I think in regards to that coming out, I think that's a great place for us to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. But when we come back after the break, I want to be able to talk about you all's coming out processes. Some people say that their coming out process was a little bit easier, and some say that it was an absolute nightmare. and we're gonna figure out who in here has had the positive experience and who here has not. And so that is what we will discuss when we come back.
I wanted to clear something up.
Go ahead.
Okay, we was talking about, being gay, when we realized we were gay and whatnot. Okay, for starters, when I was younger, when I was 3 years old, I didn't know what gay was. I considered myself a little girl. I identified as a little girl. When I looked in the mirror, I saw a little boy. I was a girl on the inside, but I saw a boy in the mirror. So I just wanted to clear that up. I didn't consider myself gay. I was a little girl that was in the wrong body. So I never really considered myself gay. I really always considered myself a girl. That's why I've always went into the girls' bathrooms, even as a little boy. But when I did it when nobody was around. I would peep and make sure nobody was in the bathroom when I was younger. Then I would go in the bathroom. But later on, when I became a teenager, I would go in with the girls because I hung with the girls. And the girls we were in this clique. So we went and we hung together, and I hung out with them. So I would go into the girls' bathroom. That was a good escape to, go in without being ostracized, like she said, for being who I was. But later on, when I became Roxanne, when I started doing the hormones and all this other stuff, like I said, I could identify my outside with my inside. That's what I want to clear up.
Well, we thank you. We thank you for being able to clear it up. It is 39 minutes past the hour here on 91.9 FM WLJS Jacksonville. I'm sitting here with my panel of guests: Justine Billups, Courtney Johnson, Tavares Doizer, Russell Henson, Sam Bullard, Jayr Morris, Roxanne Demornay, and Sterling Fiering. You're listening to Outfront, stories from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, and we'll be right back. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ed Moore III. Thank you for joining us once again on our special broadcast. The title of tonight's program is called Outfront, stories from the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. I'm sitting here with my very wonderful panel of guests all of which identify themselves as either lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender. I'm sitting here with Justine Billups, Courtney Johnson, Tavares Doizer, Russell Henson, Sam Bullard, Jayr Morris, Roxanne Demornay, and Sterling Fiering. When we came back from the break, I wanted to be able to sit down and talk with my guests about the coming out process. Some people say that the coming out process is a little bit easier than other people, and some say that the coming out process was a little bit harder. I want to switch this over to Justine. Justine, when we first interviewed you for this program about a month ago, when we were in the production stages of this program, you told us that your coming out process was a little bit easier than some other people. Why is that?
I think because I was starting to be true to who I am as a person and as a woman who liked women. And I think it was time for me to stop beating myself up inside, because literally I would cry myself like to sleep at night, because I'm like, why am I not being who I am? I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not. So I had to come to the realization, I need to say something, because it's going to start eating me alive, and I don't want to commit suicide. I don't want to do none of this to myself. So I live with my grandparents. So I told my grandma. She was like, huh? She was like, what? So, and my grandpa, they was like, are you serious? Is this what you are? So, like, they stopped talking to me for a little bit. But I think they had to come to a realization that this is who you are. And if you're happy, then you be happy. And that's like my mom. My mom said, if you're happy, then I'm happy. But if they mess with you, it's on. So, my mom has my back, like, 100%. So that's like, I talk to her about it, even though me and my grandmom are still really tight. I talk to her every day, but I think I talk to my mom more about it than I do my grandma, because she's really always gonna have my back. Like now, she's listening. She like has my back like 100%. So
who in here did not have such an easy coming out process? Tavares, Russell, both of you raised your hand, and Sterling, I saw you raise your hand over here. Tavares, why was your coming out process not as easy as Elise's? Justine?
Mine was kind of unexpected. I was kind of forced out, which was my mom, which was even more confusing. My mom, who is transgender, found some porn on my computer. And, you know, at that time I was 18, you know, really didn't know. I mean, I knew, and I had, at that point in high school, tried to be with girls and try to date girls. So I knew I was gay, but I was still trying to, you know, go through that phase of trying to wean myself off. So my mom found the porno, and I tried to lie about it. She didn't believe me and told my family. Told my grandmother, who's a pastor. Told my aunt, who's a very heavily Christian. So it was kind of one of those things where I felt betrayed, you know, because if anybody should know what I'm going through, it should be you. You know, you know, my grandmother kicked my mom out as a kid because she was gay. Beat her, called the cops on her. You know, that whole ordeal that many gays go through, my mom went through it. And I felt like you ratted me out to my grandmother. And with that came my grandmother come down on me, tell me my mom should have had an abortion. You know, at 18, hearing that you shouldn't even be here. And for your mom, who's transgender, the one person who should know you the most, not even as a transgender, but just as your mother, to turn her back against you, it was hard. You know, my grandmother wouldn't let me come over. You know, I kept getting, I was wrong. You're going to hell. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, HELL. You're a disgrace. You're an abomination. That was the one that to this day I don't even like people to say abomination to me. I don't even like the sound of that word, because my grandmother instilled in me so much when I finally came out that I was such an abomination that I tried to commit suicide. I was in downtown Homewood, and if anyone's not familiar with that, it's a part of Birmingham. My family couldn't find me. I had taken about a bottle of Lortabs, took a whole thing of wine. I was so dehydrated and so gone that I passed out in the streets. I was face down on the pavement in downtown Homewood, all because I hated myself. I hated everything about me. My mom, who was transgender, didn't get me. My grandmother thought I should have been an abomination. I should have been aborted. And I didn't want to live anymore. No one understood me. My family turned their backs against me. And that was it. When I got to the hospital, I already assumed that I was dead. You know, I didn't care to live anymore. I mean, But then, I mean, at a point in time, I just said, who are you to tell me that I should have been aborted? And even if you don't, the one person who is transgender, my mom, doesn't agree with who I am, who are you to judge me? And it took years, you know, and I'm still 25 and I still have issues with it, you know. I have issues with my mom. Still to this day, our relationship is awful. It's getting better, but I think that point in our life where someone who's